In the previous lesson, we talked about the symmetrical features of the series of fifths and how to interpret the circle, by stating left resolves and right tightens. For the last 300 years, Western music has been using two distinctive scales, major and minor. On the other hand, musical modes date back to very early times, temple modes in the ancient Middle East, raga in Indian music, shiur-lu in Chinese music, tanoi in ancient Greece, dastka in Persian music, echoes in Byzantine music, Gregorian modes in medieval Europe. They all share the same construction principles based on the perfect fifth interval. Starting from the 20th century, we call them jazz modes. Jazz modes consist of 7 consecutive tones in the series of fifths. When we mark these 7 tones in the circle, we have a semicircle nightline. Imagine you are looking at the Earth from space, taking the North Pole as the center. The position of the Earth, according to the Sun, gives us an illumination circle which divides the Earth into night and day. In this case, the top part of the circle gives the daytime, while the bottom part is the night. The right side is the sunrise and left is the sunset. Now we have 7 notes to construct a mode. But we need a crucial decision to make. Tonality refers to 2 or more tones, constituting a hierarchical order among themselves and forming a gravitational axis towards the tone considered to be the center. When one of these notes is emphasized more than the others, it reveals a mode with a distinct musical character. Since we have 7 tones, we can have 7 different possible centers, and thus 7 different modes. These 7 modes are named as Lydian, Ionian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian, and Locrian. Mode names derived from ancient civilizations settled in modern Greece and Turkey. A closer look at their placement in the circle reveals that they fit a template that begins with happy and ends with sad, forming the 7 different stages of ethos. Just like the 7 colors of the rainbow, the 7 stages of the human soul appear as 7 natural modes. All jazz modes contain 1 tritone interval. The sunrise Lydian and the sunset Locrian have an angle of 180 degrees and thus constitute a tritone. The position of tritone defines the ethos of the modes. This specific interval also forms what is called color tones in jazz modes. Now let's identify each mode sonically by playing the notes inside the mode. The center note is going to be the low pedal tone. Please note that harmony calculations are traditionally made from low to high. That is also how we perceive tonality. The center loses one of its harmonic neighbors due to the dual interval in between, which brings about a weak center. On the other hand, one of the dual tones has a connection to the center, thereby enhancing the central gravitation. In this manner, the Lydian mode carries tension along with a gravitational force. Also known as the major scale, Ionian is a balanced mode since it has 2 identical tetrachords but they lean towards the right. This causes the mode to contain a tendency towards Lydian. However, the harmonic neighbor Mixolydian is a good choice if the desire is to stay in Ionian, as it raises the tension to come back. Frequently used in jazz and blues, the Mixolydian is the closest replica of the upper harmonic series within our range of hearing. This makes it sound natural and vibrant. On the other hand, because it contains only the upper harmonics, this creates a constant tension for the mode. In terms of gravitation, the Dorian center resembles the pivot point on a seesaw. Its tetrachords are symmetrical within themselves and also with one another. Furthermore, the tritone tones frame the center. Used mainly in folk music, the Dorian can hold both tension and resolution at the same time. Whenever one overlaps the other, it reveals a tendency towards the other modes. Also known as the natural minor scale and tonal harmony, the Aeolian is the closest representation of the lower harmonic series. This feature allows the mode to contain low energy and makes it soothing. The Phrygian is also a balanced mode, because it has two identical tetrachords like the Ionian, but this time they lean towards the left. This causes the mode to have a tendency towards the Locrian mode, whereas in order to gain tension, it tends towards the Aeolian. The tritone interval is located between the center and its harmonic neighbor, causing the center to lose gravitational force, whilst one of the tritone tones connects to the center to enhance the gravity. According to their position of tritone interval, we can classify the modes in two groups: Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian and Locrian are more tension-oriented, thus unbalanced. On the other hand, Ionian, Dorian and Phrygian are more stable, which makes them resolution-oriented, thus balanced. Modes are also laid out symmetrically on the keyboard. All the balanced modes are placed together. Triton notes F and B, Lydian and Locrian surround them. And the unbalanced Mixolydian and Aeolian are just on the edge. So far, we have used only natural notes while building the modes. But actually each note can have 7 corresponding modes. For this reason we can move the night component. Left notes covered by the night are raised by 1 degree. Right tones covered by the night are flattened by 1 degree. You can also change the position of the circle of fifths and travel through the series of fifths, towards sharp and flat symbols, in order to reach the modes of other notes.